Hello and welcome to another video. Today we are actually going to be making a card that I have in my head and we'll see how it comes out. So for today's card, I'm actually signed up for a swap called Christmas in July, and because I received some of my pre-order materials for the current current holiday catalog, I thought I would play with something from the new catalog. Mind you, there are in fact a lot of really beautiful Christmas and other holidays sets in the annual catalog, so there are a lot of choices to choose from if you wanted to get a jump start on your card making for the holiday season. So let me show you what this set is. It's called Gnome for the Holidays, and I thought that this one was super cute. Plus, I always love a good pun. So for today, we're going to be using this one here. There's no place like Gnome for the Christmas season. And so I figured let's just kind of eyeball it and see what I can make. So I'm using this set, and I think I'm only going to pull these three stamps from it. So the sentiment, this little guy with the what looks like mistletoe hanging from his hat, and then the little the little home in the tree. So how I had envisioned it, so we have here, I kind of think, and we'll see whether or not I want to do it like straight on or not, but so like we could do straight on with this piece here, and then this guy stamped, colored, and cut out. I don't know, we're gonna see. And then this maybe as a little strip. So I still haven't like finalized what I think it's gonna look like, but I figured we'd play around and figure it out as we go. And we're gonna use the blends today to color these guys in, both the little house and the little guy, the little gnome. So let's go ahead then and get started with some stamping. So first things first, let's go ahead and use our Memento Tuxedo Black ink. Because we're using the blends, we really need to use an ink that will permit us to use it without bleeding. And since this is the first time I am using this stamp, let's see if nice and centered, maybe, fingers crossed. Hey, look at that, looks great. So there's that one, and then I'll just do the same exact thing. Make sure it's nice and inked up, and you can see there's ink everywhere. And this guy kind of have to put it at an angle because he's kind of long. And there we go. So let's cap. Oh, actually, nope. Before we cap the ink, I think the way that it's placed on the stamp, I think this little half-inch strip will be enough. So let's test that. Hey, look at that. And I'm actually going to put it on both ends, because since I haven't like finalized what I think this card's going to look like, if I end up wanting to put the sentiment coming off of the one end or the other, I'll already have it stamped and I can cut it off accordingly. So there's that. So this is one of those things about this particular stamp set that is extra nice, that this stamp happens to fit on one of those half-inch strips, because when I cut card bases and card layers and stuff, I've got lots of them. So it's always nice to have a sentiment ready to go, and I could stamp a bunch of these ahead of time and do that, which is nice. So let's go ahead and color our little, I almost called it a hobbit hole, our little gnome home first. Let's do the little grass, and then we'll move on. So I'm using here the old olive right here for this grass. So this is the light old olive. I thought that I would do the light with little hints of the dark for the grass, and then for the leaves I would just use all the dark. So there we go. Now let's move on to the tree trunk. The tree trunk, I am using light and dark soft suede. I thought that I would use like a darker color, but I think this will look good for our tree trunk. The paper that you saw earlier, I'll show you again here once we move on to that, is another holiday offering from our catalog, and that one is one that you might not necessarily would have thought would come from that particular paper pack. This paper pack, which I love, I happen to, this was one of those things I did with my daughters. They were being particularly in need of some kind of a distraction recently, and so I thought, well, all right, fine, let's look at my pre-order together. So I opened up all of the paper packs that I received, and we looked at each page, and then of course they need to give me their input, of course. So I told them, I was like, all right, well, let me know which one you like for each one. And so I'd flip each side, and then I'd say, all right, do you like this side or this side better? And I could almost always pick which one they would choose. Occasionally they'd surprise me, but I think it was mostly because it was the most recent side rather than they actually had some kind of a preference. So I do want to, because I'm using the Poppy Parade card base and there's Old Olive in this. See, I've already tied in the Old Olive, which is nice, but I haven't yet tied in the Poppy Parade. So I did pick this, and I thought a nice bright red door would be nice for this particular card here. So that's why I'm using this, in case you're wondering, like, that doesn't blend in. These little gnomes would be picked off immediately. That's why. I figured I would try to tie in all the colors. I thought I wanted to have a color that would be, for this particular card, I wanted it, I could have done more muted, more neutral colors. Like I could have used, you know, Misty Moonlight, and used a more, like a, what's the word? Kind of a more natural looking paper, but I thought that this one looked nice. It would still have kind of that holiday theme without it being too much. So I thought here I would use a yellow for the door, like the window, essentially implying that there's, you know, some kind of lighting inside. And so I'm doing that with my little light bulbs. You could do that with different colors. I'll even, actually, I'll do the doorknob too. There's a lot of options there. I'm actually using, let's see here, light smoky slate, and I'm actually going to use that to essentially color this whole little path. And then I'm going to use the dark smoky slate to do the actual little bumps on the road here. And then I'm actually going to use it too for the connector bits here for these light bulbs. Oh, and see, look at that, I missed one spot on my tree. Let's fix that. There we go. That would have looked a little odd. So there's that. So let's hold it up now to my piece. Oh, that is nice. Okay, so now though, see how I have my green, but me taking it in, I think that I don't have quite enough green, and I think my tree's a little bit too, I don't know, stark. So I'm actually going to use Light Pool Party, and I'm just kind of going to draw sort of a halo around the painting, my coloring here. So I'm not going to try to touch it too much, just kind of an outline. And so it'll essentially tie it in a little bit better. It'll soften those lines a little bit. It feels like this one's drying out a little bit. I use this kind of tip pretty frequently when I color with these, and so it makes sense that this one might be drying out a little bit sooner than others. And so notice here now this blue is coming pretty close, so I do want to kind of extend my blues in other directions to make it not quite as obvious that that one's going so close to the corner. And I probably didn't even need to make it go that far out, but that's okay. So now if I hold it up, see how that softens that a little bit? I think that's going to be really good. So let's go ahead, color in our little buddy. So for this guy, I still wanted to use those same colors, right? The green and the red, but I wanted to tie in a little bit of the new Misty Moonlight as well. That is also a color that comes in the paper. And I thought that his hat would seem like he'd seem really monochromatic if I only used two colors, even though it would, you know, not be monochromatic. I wanted his pattern to be a little bit more open, I guess. So I'm going to use 3 colors, 1, 2, and 3, when I'm doing that. So since, and see, look, so now I added the blue, but because I'm going to add in here the mistletoe, so that would be red, so it'll be red next, then the green. Oh, actually I might as well while I have it out. And I'm using, this was actually the light Misty Moonlight, but this is the dark Old Olive. I think I'm going to use the dark Poppy Parade, because they're all sort of in that darker tone here for his hat. And so I'll do the tip and the bow in red. Boop, and there we go. And then let's make his little outfit. I thought his beard would look nice if I made it a little gray beard, so I'm using my smoky slate, but I'm using the light smoky slate for his beard and little mustache here. And I realize I haven't yet picked a skin tone color, so let's go back to my container here. I'll just pick nice little ivory for him. Though crumb cake could be a good option as well. If you wanted him to have a darker skin tone, you could pick bronze. So there's ivory. There's his little eye, his little hand. And it looks like he's wearing colorful little striped socks. So let's use maybe the light Poppy Parade for his garb here. Then we'll add in the dark for some shading. There we go. There we go. And let's bring the light back in to blend it in. There we go. Now let's make his socks, let's make them all blue. That's nice. And you could definitely color them in striped if you wished. But I like that. And I think, let's see, that's a little too big. I was hoping I had a really big thing. That's a little too large. Okay, so let's go ahead then and color his little ornament there, and let's do light old olive here, and then dark misty moonlight. There we go. So we've got our little guy. He's ready to go, so let's go ahead and use our snips to cut them out. And then we'll just assemble the card and we'll see where that takes us. I think this is actually going to be pretty, I mean, I think when I start mass producing these, the thing that's going to take me the longest is probably to color them. And once I have, you know, my idea for what my little guys are going to look like and what they do. The good thing about making these, kind of mass producing them, is that you can actually color them like if you have them all stamped out, you can essentially form like a bit of an assembly line. So you can essentially take your color and say you want to do all of your red. So you'd go through each of your pieces and you'd color in all of your reds first. I do recommend, say, if you have more than, say, 2 or 3 that you're making all at once, unless you're coloring in a very small piece where you can get back to that original, the first one you colored, very quickly, I do recommend that you take a pause between every 3 or so cards, because what happens is the alcohol starts to evaporate, and when the alcohol evaporates, that means that you can't blend it very well. And if your goal is to have kind of a more flawless finish, you really do want to make sure that your blending is possible. So if you are taking too long between cards, that's going to make it really difficult for you. So try really hard to do that if you're going to make an assembly line card. And that is applicable for any kind of assembly line card where there is coloring with these blends, because you could be making them for Christmas cards, you could be adding, say you're running low on birthday cards, right? Whatever you're doing, you want to make sure that you are going to be maximizing your product. So there's that, and it looks really nice when you get a good blend going on. I will probably not cut all the way up into his mistletoe here on the inside, but I'll try to trim out some of the white spots. There we go. Well, no, I guess I really do need to cut out more. This will also probably take a little second when I mass produce them, but that's okay. I listen to podcasts, or sometimes I'll be really good about it and I'll like watch a little TV while I'm doing it. It's nice. Okay, so there's that. And let's go ahead, and I think we're more or less at the point of assembly here. So let's go ahead, let's start by folding our cardstock using our piece here in our bone folder to add a crease. So here we go. And actually, well, here's another thing we could consider. Because I made this small enough, we could even make it go vertical, or not vertical, the other direction. Horizontal if we wanted. We could do this with this little guy. That could be cute. We could have the sentiment up there. Or, let's see. So this is kind of why you don't want to have it, and we can even, ooh, look at that. See, I could do this, have them kind of tilted a little bit, and I could have that maybe a little bit higher. Now I kind of like them next to one another. And then I could have this little sentiment right here. Ooh, I kind of like that. I can even shift these up a little bit and have this be here. Ooh, now the question is, do I put it like, say, underneath and go all the way across? I kind of like that. All right, that's what we're gonna do. So now that I'm ready, notice here I wanna have this piece underneath, so I actually need to glue this piece down first. So I'm going to take my multi-purpose adhesive, and actually, you know what I'm gonna do? Because I know exactly where it needs to be on the card, I'm gonna lay it straight onto the cardstock there, and I'm just gonna shift these guys up a little bit. There we go, and then I can lay this flush with this piece, and then as it glues down here, I'll just flip this guy around and trim it off. Boop. So there's that. So now the next layer would be this green. So let's do the same thing. Oh, on the back they have all these little families holding hands. I thought that was really cute. Okay. There's that, not too much, just enough, and I remember how it overlapped, so I needed to make sure to do the same. So there's that, nice and overlapping. So now I'll do the same thing here, again, kind of at a bit of an angle, not too much, and I think I'll pop the little guy up on dimensionals. There we go. Boop, and then dimensionals for the little guy. Let's do some mini dimensionals, because he is kind of small. And actually, let's do a fourth one over here. Maintain integrity. And here we go. Let's put him, let's see, right here. Yeah, actually, look at that. See, if I put him right there, then he kind of blocks where the gray and the blue kind of extended out further. And there we go. I've got my little card and he's ready to go. Now, if I really wanted to, I could probably even stamp this right here on a card and color it in and have a coordinating card. Who knows? If I've got the time, I might even do that. Poppy Parade is one of those colors where it is pretty bright, so if I really didn't want to, I could avoid putting a layer on the inside there. I haven't decided that yet. I figured once I start cranking these out, we'll see what I choose. But so there's the card I've made for my swap for Christmas in July. Let me know what you think. I thought this was pretty cute, and what's really nice too is that I can then move on and make similar cards with these different ones here. So I've got this little lady gnome, whoops, a lady gnome here with a little Christmas tree hat. I've got some snowflakes and a jingle bell up there, right? So a lot of variety and options for this particular set, and I love it. If you need help getting any of these materials, feel free to let me know. The catalog for this material is actually going to be available in August. On August 4th, all of these products will become available for purchase, so you'll be able to get your hands on this if you'd like. If you have a demonstrator, feel free to get in touch with them for that information. However, if you would like me to be your demonstrator, feel free to get in touch. If you would like to become your own demonstrator and get a discount, make sure to let me know, and I can definitely help you on how to figure that out and help you navigate that particular sign up. And if you have any suggestions or comments or types of cards you'd like me to see, I will probably be making in the next few weeks more cards from the holiday sets that are already in the annual catalog, as well as those that I've received in my pre-order that you'll be able to get your hands on very soon. So until next time, bye guys.